The director behind X-Men First Class has said that Star Wars is in dire straits and the Star Wars franchise needs to be rebooted.
That means new.
I totally forgot to say the next part. Oh, here we go. Let's just start over. My bad. All right. The director behind The director behind X-Men First Class says that Star Wars is in dire straits and needs to be rebooted. What does that mean, Nick?
That means freaking new actors for the characters of Luke Skywalker, Leia, Han Solo, Darth Vader. Here's everything he said, guys, and you don't want to go away and miss the conversation at the end of this video.
Oh, yeah. In a world where beloved franchises are constantly being reimagined and revitalized, one director dares to challenge the status quo. Matthew Vaughn, renowned for his work on films like Kick-Ass, the Kingsman series, and his reinvention of the X-Men franchise, has set his sights on an iconic universe, Star Wars. Matthew Vaughn recently appeared on the Happy Sad Confused podcast. Vaughn is a visionary Hollywood director. During the podcast, Vaughn spoke about Star Wars, saying, "For me, doing a Star Wars movie is about playing with the characters that I loved. Imagine if they came to me and said, 'Do you want to reboot Star Wars and create your own version with Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Darth Vader?' People would probably think I'm crazy to even consider it, but that idea excites me." And on the subject of rebooting the franchise, Vaughn said, "Why should characters like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo be bound by the limits of the past? Star Wars is the Skywalker family, and I think they've lost sight of that. They've done amazing things in the TV world, but what it needs now is an epic new film, and that's what I would do. I know people will go batshit crazy about this idea, but let's bring it on. If we want to capture a new generation, we have to make a movie that speaks to them. The old generation, they can hopefully appreciate it too, but the focus should be on creating something exciting for the new audience." So, Matthew Vaughn is a director unafraid to challenge convention and reimagine the stories that have captured the hearts of millions. Will his bold vision become a reality? Could it save Star Wars? Or only make matters worse? Nick, should Star Wars be rebooted, not by Matthew Vaughn, by anybody?
Absolutely freaking not. It should not be rebooted. You are never even going to come close to the original movies.
No.
There is no way. It's sort of like saying, should people redo Aliens or redo the original Predator with all new characters or redo Lord of the Rings, all three movies with new people and stuff? No, there's certain movies you just do not redo. You know, if you want to do a similar story or something like that, that's kind of got the same story arcs or character arcs and call it something different where it's completely different, you know, whatever. People pull stuff and make new movies off of old material all the time, but completely rebooting Star Wars, it's just not gonna work. Maybe it works in Disney's mind so that everything lines up to all the crap they're shoveling out, but no.
Look, in the words of Master Yoda, it's only going to make matters worse.
Yeah.
And it's pretty bad matters are pretty bad right now. Yeah. Matters are pretty bad. Disney has fumbled the ball. Star Wars is in a terrible position. Nobody saw this coming, you know, before. No one ever thought Star Wars would be the way that it is now. Yeah. And then Disney bought it, and people said, uh-oh, this isn't good. You know, I didn't know. I waited and saw, and man, I cannot believe how far Star Wars has fallen. So I do agree with them so far as saying, you know, we need a major change. There has to be a big change. Rebooting is a major change. There's no doubt about that. But is rebooting the answer? If they wanted to reboot, what they should do is The World Between Worlds, get rid of the sequel trilogy and continue Star Wars from that vantage point. But that's not going to happen. So you've destroyed what George Lucas started, and now you're talking about rebooting it, and I can guarantee you, It doesn't matter what they do if they reboot it. People are not going to go watch it. They're just not.
No.
There's no way it's going to be even close to the original trilogy. You just can't do it. You can't do it that well. The only thing I could think of that's been rebooted in recent times that it was actually a legitimate, huge upgrade is Denis Villeneuve's Dune. That movie is fantastic. I cannot wait for Dune Part 2, and I hope Denis Villeneuve continues the series because there's a lot of canon that is available. There's a lot of stories that's available. That is somebody that can reboot a franchise. Star Wars, it needs major changes, but rebooting is not the answer.
Yeah, and just like you said with Dune, that movie was really, really old, and it kind of had that cult following. It wasn't like that huge thing that, was all over the world, like
Right.
Star Wars. There's certain things that you just cannot go back and redo. You shouldn't go back and redo it ever. Like The Godfather. Who wants to see a remake of The Godfather?
No.
Nobody. There's so many IPs that are untouchable, and Star Wars is one of those. Sort of like Coach's example of Dune. The only thing I can think of, which isn't movie related, it's video game related, but is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is a remake of the original game, but it's done by the same creator who did the original. And
Right.
not to spoil anything, but it's not really a remake. It's kind of more like a sequel. If you played the game, you probably know what I'm talking about. But there's some things you just don't touch. And if it is going to be touched or redone in any way, that should be done by the original creator, not by Disney, who bought it off of George Lucas, who's already proven that they can't do Star Wars. So no go on the reboot for me.
And I can think of other things that have been rebooted, like, remember when Jason Momoa was Conan?
Ooh, I didn't really like that Conan.
I didn't either. And I love the franchise.
Yeah,
That was not good.
No.
Do you remember when, what's his face? I can't even remember now. Rebooted RoboCop. Didn't go well.
That wasn't good either.
Didn't. So here it is. So how about this, Hollywood? Come up with some fresh new ideas, like our boy Zack Snyder's doing with Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Come up with something new. Quit rebooting things because you're creatively bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah, 100% for sure.
Well, most importantly, let us know in the comments what you think. We are your Echo Base Network. Echo Base Network expanded. We are more than just a Star Wars channel. We're about to work on a non-Star Wars video right now. See you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.